Somewhere I Belong, Chapter 6, Part 3. Okay, see you around, she said with a smile. Isaac returned the gesture and made his way back towards the library. The human felt the phone vibrate in his pocket. He looked at the screen to see that Lotus was calling him. Hey, Lotus. What's up? Nothing much. Listen, my sister and I need a hand tomorrow at the shop. Okay, but I'm not a certified masseuse. We need a hand putting some things away. We're getting a new shipment in, and we need some help with the boxes. We'll be sure to pay you for it. Fine by me. When should I meet you two? Our shop opens at 9 o'clock. Don't be late. Deal. See you tomorrow, then, Isaac said as he hung up the phone. He looked up to see that he had made it to the library. Isaac opened the door to see Twilight and Rarity conversing with one another. Hey, Isaac, Twilight said with a smile. Hello, darling, Rarity said as she waved. Hey, guys, what's up? Just going over plans for tonight, Twilight said as she looked at a checklist. What's special about tonight? Twilight is hosting a small get-together for our friends, since you interrupted the last one we had, Rarity said in an annoyed tone. So a slumber party. No one is sleeping over. It's just a small party with the other girls, Twilight explained. Oh, I see. We'd like it if you joined, Twilight said with a smile. Will there be alcohol? Yeah. I'm there. I'm just going to take a nap, he said as he walked upstairs. That's fine. Everyone should be here by 8, Twilight said as she returned to her checklist. Isaac laid down on his bed, spreading his legs and arms out. He let out a sigh as he felt his muscles relax from the long day. Isaac heard a loud knock on the door, stirring him from his sleep. Hey, everyone is here. Hurry up or you'll miss all the fun, Twilight said as she opened the door. I'll be down in a minute, he said as he got to his feet. Isaac made his way downstairs to see the 6 mares sitting on the couch. He nodded at them and gave a quick smile. Fluttershy, Pinky, Rarity, and Twilight returned the gesture, while Applejack averted her eyes, trying to hide her blush, and Rainbow started to whistle a small tune. Isaac sat down next to the yellow mare, and the group began conversing. Isaac kept quiet until Spike walked up to him. Sup, man, he said as they bumped fists. Found out what authors Rarity likes. Good. He looked around the group to see that they were fully engrossed with one another. Let's go somewhere a bit less crowded. The dragon nodded, and the two went into the kitchen. Isaac leaned against the counter and looked at the dragon. So, you found her favorite book? Yeah, it's called 50 Shades of Hay. I started to read it, but there's some weird stuff in there, he said as his body shivered at the memory. Define weird, Isaac asked as he raised an eyebrow. The dragon left the room and picked up a copy off the bookshelf. He handed the book to Isaac, who began to read the book. He opened up to a random page and read the first paragraph. He suddenly closed the book. Okay, I did not see that coming. Yeah, me neither. Find out anything less disturbing? Well, she likes art. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Have you talked to her about it? No, every time I try, I always step over my words. I guess I'm too nervous, he said as he hung his head. Hey, relax. I know plenty of guys that do the same thing when they meet someone they really like. Really? Yeah. We just need to find a way to make you act less nervous, he said as he began to scratch his chin. I think I've got... Gah! He yelled as he felt a pair of hands grab his shoulders and pull him into the other room. His gaze fell upon a pink mare with a huge grin on her face. Come on, you guys, it's time for some games, she said as the two sat down and the group formed a circle. Isaac sat between Rainbow and Applejack, who refused to make eye contact with him. Okay, every pony, it's time for Truth or Dare, Twilight said with a grin. Seriously? Isaac thought as he rolled his eyes. He noticed that Spike hadn't joined and was sitting in the corner. Twilight summoned an empty bottle and placed it in the center of the group. She gave it a spin and the opened end landed on Applejack. Okay, Applejack. Truth or Dare? Truth. Who was your first kiss? Applejack blushed at the statement. I never kissed any pony before, she said as her blush increased. Really? Wow. I thought you'd at least have a cult friend by now, Rainbow said as she looked at her friend. Well, I haven't, so there, she yelled as the blush increased. Take it easy, AJ. There's nothing wrong with it. I was just surprised. Applejack let out a huff and spun the bottle. Coincidentally, it landed on her blue-feathered friend. All right, little Miss Smartmouth. Truth or dare? Dare, she said in a cocky tone. I dare you to tell us about your first kiss. Pfft, that all? Fine. I was in junior flight camp and accidentally flew into this really cute colt. Light blue coat, strong arms, deep blue eyes. I was testing out a new trick when he got in my way. We collided and I ended up on top of him. I guess I had a thick skull because he was unconscious. I saw an opportunity and I took it, she said with a smug grin. Wow, who knew you were so sneaky? Pinky interjected. Oh yeah, I'm always the dominant one, she said as she put her hands behind her head. That wasn't the case this afternoon, a deep voice said. The group looked around at one another until a single book flopped in front of the group. Suddenly, the book flew open and a familiar being appeared before them. Hello, gang, Discord said in a half-mocking tone. What are you doing here, Discord? Twilight spat out as she narrowed her eyes. I was just in the neighborhood and I couldn't help overhear Rainbow's little lie, he said as he looked at the cyan mare, whose face turned crimson. You see, our favorite speed demon had an intimate moment with our guest from another dimension. The ponies looked at Isaac, who had a confused look on his face. What are you talking about? All I did was give her a massage because her muscles were strained. You what? You don't know, do you? Priceless, he said as he fell to the floor in laughter. That's enough, Discord, now get. Applejack said as she got to her feet. Oh please, Applejack, like you're one to talk, considering what happened in the orchard today. Applejack's face turned bright red, and she pulled her hat over her head to hide her blush. Well, I best be off, before Tia wonders where I've been. Arrivederci, he said as he vanished from their sight. The group became silent, and their eyes drifted over to the three blushing individuals. Isaac, what did he mean by those things? Twilight asked as she stared him down. Nothing happened. Applejack fell on top of me while she was picking some apples, and Rainbow's wings got locked in place, so I massaged them so they'd fall back in place. That's it. The mares all looked at Rainbow, who hid her face. Oh my Luna. Rainbow, did you pump in front of him? Rarity said as she face-palmed. No, I mean, maybe. I don't know. Mind your own business, she yelled as her blush increased. What is going on? You guys are acting like Pegasi wings are some sort of erogenous zone. He was cut off as he connected the dots in his mind. Oh my god, that wasn't a muscle lock, was it? He says he looked at the cyan mare, who nodded in agreement. You tricked me into relieving your wing boner? It only happened because my cycle is starting tomorrow. That doesn't give you the right to use him like that, Applejack commented. Oh yeah? Well, what happened in the orchard today? She said as her eyes narrowed. Nothing, just like he said. I fell on top of him and we landed awkwardly. Care to elaborate? Applejack's face turned bright red. My breast ended up in his hand, and our faces were less than an inch away. The mares all looked at Isaac, who was covering his face in his right palm. You got to second base with AJ? Rainbow asked. Shut up, Dash, he said as he got to his feet. I'm getting the booze. Anyone else want some? The mares raised their hands, and Isaac walked back into the kitchen. Twilight and the others converged on the two blushing mares. Rainbow, how could you? Applejack's situation is understandable, but you knowingly took advantage of him, Rarity spat out. I was going to tell him after he finished. Well, was he any good? Pinky asked. Yeah, he was good, she said as her blush increased. Isaac returned with 2 large bottles of liquor and 8 glasses. Spike, you want any? Isaac asked as he looked at the dragon. No thanks. Isaac shrugged and put the 8th glass back. He poured the glasses and handed them to the mares. I recommend we get back to the game and change the subject, he said as he slammed the drink back. His eyes shrank as the auburn liquid connected with his tongue. Wow, that's got a hell of a kick. Yep, family recipe, Applejack said with a smile. As the night progressed, the dares got a little more raunchy, and the secrets began to spill out. Spike eventually got bored and made his way upstairs. That's why I'm no longer allowed to go to Las Pegasus, Rarity finished. The group looked at her, trying to muffle their laughter. That is definitely a new meaning for banana pudding, Applejack said through the laughter. Laugh it up, Applejack, it's my turn. She spun the bottle, which landed on Isaac. Truth or dare? After what you just said, I'll play it safe and choose dare, he said as he lifted the drink to his lips. I dare you to kiss Applejack. The human almost choked on his drink, while the mare blushed profusely and glared at the unicorn. What? Isaac yelled. You have to do it, and I'm not talking about a peck on the cheek, on the lips, and lasting for 1 minute, she said with a smirk. Applejack gulped and looked at the human. I don't see what the big deal is, AJ. You've never been kissed, and Isaac has already gotten to second base with you, she said with a sly smirk. Isaac looked at the orange mare, whose face was as red as a beet. The two cast another look at the white mare, who sat holding the grin on her face. Isaac moved closer to the mare, whose heart rate began to increase. Their faces were the same shade of red as Applejack felt Isaac's lips connect with her own. Applejack closed her eyes as she felt her body heat up and her heart rate increased. She had almost lost all control as she moved her tongue inside of his mouth. She explored the human's unfamiliar mouth and let out a moan as she brushed her tongue across his canines. Isaac felt the mare's tongue starting to explore his mouth. Isaac returned the gesture and darted his tongue inside of her mouth. She tasted like fresh apple cider. As the minute ended, the two broke apart and let out a long breath. They looked back at the group, whose mouths were agape. "Well, how was it, darling?" Rarity cooed. "It was nice," AJ said as she blushed. "Glad to hear it. Isaac?" "Not bad for your first time," he said as he took another drink. "Now it's my turn." He grabbed the bottle and gave it a hard spin. He slammed his hand next to it to make it go off course and land on the white mare. "Okay, since I'm a reasonable guy, I'll tell you what your options are before you make a decision." The mare nodded as she raised an eyebrow. "If you choose truth, then you tell Spike how you really feel about him." The mare began to blush at the statement. "Now, if you choose dare, you need to go on a date with Spike. A real date. Go see a movie, a simple dinner, whatever you classify as a date. Those are your options. The choice is yours." The group of mares looked at him with a shocked look on their faces. Rarity blush brightened, and she gritted her teeth. "If you choose neither, I will call Spike in here, and I'll tell him myself." "You wouldn't." "I so would." "How could you possibly know how I feel?" "I'm a psych minor. I know how to read people. Or ponies in this case. And the answer's written all over your face," he said as he took a drink. The mare remained silent. "Suit yourself. Spike, come down here for a minute." The purple dragon came down the stairs, rubbing his eyes. "What?" Rarity I was wondering if you'd like to have dinner with me tomorrow night." Rarity blurted out. Spike's face turned bright red, and his mouth was dry as a desert. Isaac walked over to him and put a hand on his shoulder. "He'd love to. Isn't that right, Spike?" Yeah." "Good. Pick me up tomorrow at 8, and don't be late," she said as she averted her gaze. Spike slowly nodded his head. Rarity got to her feet and shot Isaac an icy glare. "Well, I think I'll head home. It's getting late, and I must get a suit done for a special client. Goodbye," she said as she slammed the door on her way out. Spike looked at Isaac, who had a smug grin on his face. "You're welcome," he said as he patted Spike on the back. "What did you just do?" Spike yelled. "I just scored you a date with your crush." "I don't know what to do on a date. I'll probably mess up or make a fool of myself or—" "Spike, calm down. I'll help you out," he said in a calm tone. "How?" "I have my ways. Just leave everything to me," he said as he poured himself another drink. Spike was about to protest but found no complaint. The dragon hurried back upstairs and went to his room. The mares looked at the human in surprise. "I can't believe you managed to get Spike a date with Rarity. He's been after her for years," Twilight said, getting over the shock. "If you want things to happen, then you make them happen." He looked at the clock and got to his feet. "I'm gonna turn in. I gotta help Aloe and Lotus tomorrow." "Doing what?" Rainbow asked. "They're getting a shipment in and they need someone to handle the heavy lifting. I'll see you guys around," he said as he finished his drink and made his way upstairs. "How did you know that Rarity would agree to go on a date with Spike?" Applejack asked. "I didn't," he said as he made his way upstairs. As he closed the door, the mares looked at one another with a nervous glance. "Well, that escalated quickly," Rainbow said. "I think it's best if we call it a night," Twilight suggested. "Good idea. I've got weather duty in the morning, so I'd better get going too." "Likewise," Applejack said as she got to her feet. The other mares nodded in agreement and started to leave. "Applejack, hold on a minute," Twilight said as the others left. "What's up, Twi? Do you have a crush on Isaac?" "What? No, of course not," she said as the lavender mare's eyes bored through her facade. "AJ, you stink at lying." Applejack had a defeated look on her face and hung her head down. "I don't know, Twi. I'm not sure if it's genuine or if it's just my cycle starting. I think it might be best if you avoid him for a few days, until your cycle ends," Twilight said as she put a hand on her shoulder. "Good idea. I need to get my head straight, that's all. Just remember, AJ, Isaac will have to go back eventually. I don't want to see you get hurt." "I know. Thanks for looking out for me, Twi," she said as she smiled at her. "What are friends for?" Applejack gave a nod and walked out of the door. As she walked home, 1,000 thoughts ran through her mind. They mostly consisted of Isaac and the kiss they shared. She quickly pushed the memory out of her mind as she walked into the farmhouse. A few miles away in a white cloud house, Rainbow was struggling to fall asleep as she replayed the night's activities in her mind. Ugh, why did she have to kiss him? Why do I even care? You like him. What? That's crazy. He's a completely different species than me. So? He's not staying here forever. That remains to be seen. Just shut up, she said as she pulled the pillow over her face and tried to calm herself down. Isaac splashed cold water on his face as he looked himself in the bathroom mirror. His mind was raging an all-out war with itself over the night's events. You fucking freak, you kissed a horse. It was a dare, nothing more. Bullshit, you liked it. It meant nothing. Doesn't make it any better. You still did it. I've done worse things than kiss a girl. That thing wasn't a girl. She's a friend and nothing more. Yeah, right. Just shut the fuck up, he yelled as he slammed his clenched fist into his face. He staggered back and saw his right eye starting to turn purple. He quickly made his way to his room and closed the door behind him. As he laid down in his bed, he pushed the voices out of his head and eventually let sleep take hold of him.